The Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation has a purpose to preserve the memories and honor the military service of thousands of Craighead County men and women who have served through the years. Say thank you to a special veteran by purchasing a brick as part of the Craighead County Courthouse Plaza in downtown Jonesboro. Celebrate a graduation, recognize a commissioning, or commemorate a retirement by placing an engraved brick on the plaza. To place your order, go to craigheadcountyveterans.org or find us on Facebook.
America is a great country. It's a country that believes that its former Olympic athletes should lead the parade. It's a country that looks and admires the dedication and the athleticism of the participants. And it's a country that never mocks our religious symbols. Here at the Central Dealerships, we support our great Olympic athletes and we support our great nation.
There's only one name where fat is good. Fat City Steak and Grill House. At Fat City, start your day off right with the best breakfast, from skillets to omelets, pancakes, and more.
Fat City Steak and Grill House.
There's only one name where fat is good. Fat City Steak and Grill House. At Fat City, you'll always enjoy the best burgers and other favorites, including our delicious steaks, all hand-cut and perfectly grilled.
Fat City Steak and Grill House.
You served. When others were hesitant to answer the call, and when your friends stayed home, you served. Mile after mile, day after day, you became the best you could be, so freedom could count on you. You served. When our nation needed you the most, you were there. You sacrificed months without your family. You missed birthdays, anniversaries, holidays. You served. When you laced up your boots for the last time, we welcomed you back with pride. You're among us, humbly knowing you've lived another life of courage and sacrifice. Never asking for praise, never asking for thanks. You served. This Veterans Day, we honor you. We thank you for your courage and for your dedication.
The 11th hour does not strike on the clock of every man. For at this time, most of us can be found at home, comfortable, knowing tomorrow is right on its way. At the 11th hour, most of us can be found in our beds. But in another world, our men and our women, our brothers and our sisters live in this hour. Tick, 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 tick. Every second for you. Every second for me. So it was on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. The guns were lowered. The trenches grew silent, and an armistice was declared between the Allied nations and Germany. The Great War hushed, so that the wives, the children, the fathers and the mothers could salute back across the ocean. And it is on this day each year that we have stopped to salute our veterans, our men and women of the 11th hour. So today, it's our turn. It's our turn to show our gratitude. It's our turn to applaud when they stand. It's our turn to thank God for you. Yes, it's our turn to say thank you for going in our stead.
The Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation has a purpose to preserve the memories and honor the military service of thousands of Craighead County men and women who have served through the years. Say thank you to a special veteran by purchasing a brick as part of the Craighead County Courthouse Plaza in downtown Jonesboro. Celebrate a graduation, recognize a commissioning, or commemorate a retirement by placing an engraved brick on the plaza. To place your order, go to craigheadcountyveterans.org or find us on Facebook.
America is a great country. It's a country that believes that its former Olympic athletes should lead the parade. It's a country that looks and admires the dedication and the athleticism of the participants. And it's a country that never mocks our religious symbols. Here at the Central Dealerships, we support our great Olympic athletes and we support our great nation.
There's only one name where fat is good. Fat City Steak and Grill House. At Fat City, start your day off right with the best breakfast, from skillets to omelets, pancakes, and more.
Fat City Steak and Grill House.
There's only one name where fat is good. Fat City Steak and Grill House. At Fat City, you'll always enjoy the best burgers and other favorites, including our delicious steaks, all hand-cut and perfectly grilled.
Fat City Steak and Grill House.
The Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation has a purpose.
Before we start, I'd like everyone to know that this is a televised live stream event on social media and YouTube brought to you by Suncom Media. At this time, please silence or turn off any cell phones in attendance. I'm First Lieutenant Landon Grimmett, an Assistant Professor of Military Science at Arkansas State University. I'm honored to be your MC for the ceremony today. Welcome to the 2024 Veterans Day celebration. While we regret having to cancel the parade due to rain, we're glad to have all of you here under our roof together. I'd like everyone to please rise, if you are able, for the posting of the colors by the A-State ROTC and the national anthem by the 106th Army Band. Please remain standing for the invocation by Pastor Rick Hart and the Pledge of Allegiance. For the pledge and national anthem honors, we'll use the U.S. flag that will be posted over my right shoulder. As the 106th Army Band Quintet begins the first note of our national anthem, veterans are authorized to render the hand salute if they so choose. All uniformed service members will stand at attention. All others, please remove your hat and place your hands over your heart until the last note is played. Post the colors. As Chaplain Hart comes to the podium for the invocation, you should know about the Hart family. Ricky Hart is the pastor of Cache River Pentecostal Church in Sedgwick, Arkansas. Pastor Hart's family is flooded with Navy veterans, beginning with a grandfather, Jesse Ferguson, who served in Hawaii during World War II, followed by two uncles, Raymond G. Ferguson, who served aboard the USS Ticonderoga, USS Gridley, USS Schofield, and USS Kitty Hawk, and Fred Handwork, who served aboard the USS Boxer. His sister, Candy Hart, served from 1996 to 1999 in Orlando, Florida. And most recently, his son, Chief Anthony Hart, served aboard the carriers USS Enterprise, USS Harry S. Truman, and USS Gerald R. Ford. Chaplain.
Can we all bow our heads, please? Father, we are grateful today. The scripture says this is the day that the Lord hath made. We are so grateful today to be able to come into this place and commemorate so many historical people and places God, our country has been. We thank you, Lord, for the service people in this room. God, we also thank you for those who have passed. And Lord, we thank you, God, for those who are future. Father, we pray today over this ceremony that, Lord, as we honor you, Lord, we honor the people that you have created. And Lord, those who have served, Lord, to keep the freedom in this country. We give you praise, honor, and glory in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Hart. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the Vice President of the Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation, Major Retired Rich Norris.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's a long time to stand, so please be seated or get comfortable. The quintet members of the 106th Army Band are here from Little Rock today, and I want to thank them for their continued support to the Veterans Day program. They have either marched or played in many of our past programs. There are almost 270,000 veterans in the state of Arkansas, and Arkansas Congressional District 1 is represented very well by one of them. Very few districts across the nation can boast of having a veteran as the representative in D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an Army veteran, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Sergeant, our esteemed Congressman, Rick Crawford.
Well, thank you all so much for sharing a little bit of time with me. Appreciate it. It's Veterans Day, and we're not marching today because the weather said we shouldn't, but we always make the best decisions we can. As you know, as veterans, make the best decisions you can given the information you have at the time. And so this is a great place to be. And I'll tell you what, I think this is an appropriate place to be, because one of the things I want to talk about today, just real quickly, is not only do we say thank you to veterans who have given and served and continue to serve, and their families, we honor that service, but we also need to think about the veterans of tomorrow. You see some of them over here, you see some of them over there. This is a real problem for our country, because we've not seen anything like this, at least in my lifetime, where we've seen our recruiting goals are not being met. And we can talk about what we attribute that to all day. But I think it's entirely appropriate that on Veterans Day we talk about patriotism, the love of country, and how we have failed this generation if we see that they're not stepping up and expressing their willingness to serve. It's not necessarily their fault. Maybe it's ours, because we haven't instilled that sense of pride and patriotism and duty and service. And so for these young people in uniform today, I say thank you. This is the future of the United States military. They're willing to be here. They're willing to step up and say, send me. That's what we need. That's what this nation depends on, is these future leaders. And so to our veterans, I say thank you for your service. I'm a veteran as well. My dad was a veteran in Vietnam, and my granddad, all of my uncles served in Vietnam or Korea. It's a long history, and I don't want to see that change on our watch. So if you know some young people, remind them why you served, and let them know how important it is to keep this country safe, secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. God bless y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. It is also my pleasure to introduce our state representatives with us today. Senator Dan Sullivan. Sir, if you would like to make some comments.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and aren't y'all glad the elections are over? It is time for us to move forward. You know, I was talking to one of the cadets over here. I won't mention which one. Talked to several of them. Asked them what they do as they study at JHS about being in the service. And one of the things they mentioned was how to be a better person. I asked them, so what's the first thing you do to be a better person? Of course, they're doing one of the things right now and offering to serve our country. But we just said it. One nation under God. What better way to be a great person than to serve in our military and be one nation, one person under God. And when we're under God, folks, we're in a good spot. Thank you for coming today. It's a great honor and privilege to honor our veterans, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The Craighead County Judge's Office is instrumental in maintaining our wonderful monument in downtown, in front of the courthouse, as well as providing the opportunity to hold the Veterans Day Parade there year after year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Craighead County Judge Marvin Day.
Well, good morning, everyone. Glad to see you here. Really excited. I was concerned our crowd wouldn't be as robust, but it's really been a great turnout, and so excited to see these young people. And I'm proud to say welcome from all 120-odd thousand people of Craighead County, and we love our veterans, and we're proud of them, and proud that you're here. I wanted to point out a couple things, like the speakers before mentioned. Elected officials, would you please stand if you're able? Wes, got your hand up. Count him. You know, I want you to just point out the people that, you know, they don't get paid extra to be here, but they're here for you. And they believe in you, and remember them when it comes time. Go to the ballot box and find somebody to support. So thank you, elected officials, for being here. Two other things, and I'll shut up. So if you know me, I wear my emotions right here at times, and today's the first Veterans Day. I'm going to celebrate without my dad. He died in January. He was a proud captain of the 875th here in Jonesboro, and just want to recognize him. And then the other one that was, his airplane didn't make it in time this morning, but I wanted to point out and really listen to this for you young people, was my godson, Sergeant Jermaine Hubbard. He served our country in the 10th Mountain Division, had 2 tours overseas. He finished his time with our country a few months ago, and great young man, great high school student, but he just made the choice. He wasn't ready for college. He wasn't ready for other things in life, and he said, you know what, I think I need the military to teach me things, to grow me up, make me a better person. And that's exactly what it's done. He is finishing up his college degree. He has 2 businesses. He's a licensed insurance agent, and he's 23 years old. Military service did that for him, and I'm sure proud of him. I know some of you are thinking about those options, and it's a good choice. I can tell you from a dad of a young man just finishing it up. So thank you all for being here. Have a wonderful day, and God bless America.
Thank you, Judge. When visitors come to Jonesboro, they always feel welcome and it's a great place to visit and reside. Thanks in part to the hard work by our mayor, Harold Copenhaver.
Well, good morning, everybody, and of course, welcome to Jonesboro. You know, it's always a blessing and a pleasure to be here. I was born at the Air Force Academy, grew up a military infant, so to speak, but my dad instilled in me at a young age honor, integrity, and dedication. And this is what we need to continue to instill in our community every day. I'm so proud of our public schools for engaging our military in the ROTC programs throughout the city of Jonesboro. They have grown and expanded, and I would like us to give these young cadets a round of applause for stepping up to the plate. We had a wonderful service yesterday by Nettleton Public Schools to honor our military, and we had one World War II veteran, which my father was a part of, still there with us. He was 100 years old, Mr. Baker, yesterday. So I'd like to say a few words. Today we gather to honor and express our deepest gratitude to brave men and women who have served in our armed forces. On this Veterans Day, we recognize the sacrifices you made for our freedom and security. Your courage, dedication, and unwavering commitment have shaped our nation and safeguarded our values. Thank you for your service, for standing strong in the face of adversity, and for inspiring us to be resilient. We are forever grateful, and your sacrifices and the legacy of bravery you leave behind. Let us continue to support and honor you, the veterans, not just today, but every day. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mayor. We are also honored to have with us special guests, Representative John Milligan, District 33, Colonel Retired C.H. Overbay, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Dr. Gil Fowler, Tax Collector Wes Eddington. And if I missed anyone else, see me afterwards. I'll do push-ups. Let's give these guests a round of applause. World War I began in 1914 and ended in 1918. World War II began in 1939 for Eastern Europe and ended in 1945 for the world. Are there any World War II veterans with us today? I remember last year when Lieutenant Colonel Mason asked for a show of hands. He said it was the first year he could recall not seeing a World War II veteran present. Most of the greatest generation has left us, but their legacy lives on. The Korean War was fought from 1950 to 1953. If you have served in the Korean War, please stand or raise your hand. The Vietnam War began for the United States in 1954, and we withdrew in 1973. Are any Vietnam veterans here? The first war in the Persian Gulf began in 1990 and ended less than a year later. Are any Gulf War veterans present? We began fighting terrorism in Afghanistan right after 9/11 and Iraq in 2003. We withdrew from Afghanistan and still have military forces present in Iraq today and across the Middle East and in Europe and Africa, fighting and keeping the peace. Are any Operation Noble Eagle, Operation Enduring Freedom, or Operation Iraqi Freedom veterans here today? Are there any Somalia, Panama, or other previously unnamed conflict service members present, or, aside from the conflict status, anyone officially considered a veteran, please stand and be recognized. Anytime you get veterans and service members from the different branches together, you'll most likely hear us verbally poking at each other. For instance, I heard someone say the Coast Guard moved to the Department of Homeland Security. We can officially call them the stepchild now. The Marine Corps makes fun of the Air Force's boot camp. The Air Force mocks the Navy for many reasons. And the Army accuses the Marines of stealing and eating the crayons from the PX. We make these quips at each other, but we do so out of brotherly love. At this time, the 106 Band is going to play the Armed Forces Melody. When you hear your service song, feel free to stand, cheer, clap, or whatever the Marines do. Our veterans have done a great many things that make us proudly honor and remember their service and sacrifices from years past. The sacrifice of being away from family, or coming home after a stressful deployment, or even a hard day at work, is usually greeted by spouses and families who make it possible to get up and do it all over again. So, if you are a veteran or a family of a veteran, please accept my personal gratitude for your service and your sacrifice. Seated with us today is our Grand Marshals, and I'd like to ask them to stand. If you haven't met them yet, you'll certainly want to thank them both for serving this nation and our communities. Sergeant First Class retired Carl Mosby and his wife Ingeborg have been active in the veterans community since he retired in 1986 after 22 years of active service. Just a few years ago, Carl was inducted into the Arkansas Military Veterans Hall of Fame, citing his distinguished career as well as his distinguished service to veterans after his uniform service. Carl enlisted for active duty in March 1964 after receiving his draft card. He was building bridges on I-35 when he got the call. His career took him to many places, including Germany, Hawaii, D.C., and Vietnam. Carl's intelligence, attention to detail, charisma, and driving skills placed him in the driver's seat for many generals and VIPs, like John McCain after his release from the Hanoi prison, five-star General Omar Bradley, and President Nixon. He will tell you that his most exciting duty station was in Ludwigsburg, West Germany, where he met his lovely bride. Ingeborg Sals. Carl retired in March 1986 and returned to Arkansas, working for Riceland Foods. He has been active in the VFW, American Legion, and Disabled American Veterans, as well as past president of the CCVMF. The veterans with us here today often talk very fondly about Carl and his wife Ingeborg, mentioning that at every military-related event they've attended in Northeast Arkansas, Ingeborg has been there with food, flowers, flyers, or something honoring veterans. She has served in several ladies' auxiliaries and has done everything from handing out poppies to selling cookies and pies to stapling up decorations and everything in between. With Carl in his uniform and Ingeborg working everything else, they are the mortar that holds our veterans events together. They will both tell you that they will keep serving this community as long as they can move, and it's time we honored them for doing so. I am honored to know you both and to have such a wonderful military couple serve this community and our nation for so many years. Please join me in a round of applause for our friends.
You too can sit down, because you've been standing up for this community for far too long. And it's time for us, as the lieutenant said, to recognize their contributions. You've got flowers, you've got a commemorative Jeep there, Carl. Every time I look in our Veterans of Craighead County book, I run across your name. I love reading about your career. And so it's fitting to honor you both today. So the plaque I'm giving you says, to Sergeant First Class Retired Carl and Ingeborg Mosby, in appreciation for your years of unfailing support and untiring dedication to the Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation and all the veterans of Northeast Arkansas. Your steadfast devotion, proactive involvement, positive energy, and most importantly, your faithful application of support have enabled the CCVMF and other veterans organizations to preserve the memories and honor the service of the veterans of this community. And all the board of directors of the CCVMF and each of the organizations that we support are in love and in honor of everything you've done. Thank you very much.
It's my honor to introduce our keynote speaker this year. Brigadier General Henderson is the director of the Arkansas Army and Air Guard staff. He is way, way up there in my chain of command, and I'm not a bit nervous. I asked Lieutenant Colonel Mason for some advice with General Henderson's introduction, and being the super considerate leader I've always known him to be, he said right before walking away, "Sure, he's a general officer, don't screw it up." He came back later, while I was wiping the sweat from my keyboard. He told me, "You can see a leader's reputation in the people he leads." He said, "His reputation is best described by the nickname given to him by his subordinates. We call him the Standard." Before Lieutenant Colonel Mason turned and walked away again, he said, "Oh, you better use a sports analogy. He loves those, so don't drop the ball." He said, "You'll get extra credit and on your evaluation too if you mention his daughter. We're all proud of her too." So I feel like I scored a goal by using his words without getting a penalty for delay of game. Rather than punt this to his full biography for the program, I think you'll find my audible pretty impressive. Omaha, Omaha. Brigadier General Henderson enlisted in the Charlie Company, 875th Engineer Battalion in Paragould, Arkansas. Completed training as MOS 12 Bravo Combat Engineer. He later graduated from the Arkansas Regional Training Institute's Officer Candidate School, class number 39, earning a commission as a second lieutenant. Brigadier General Henderson was awarded the Matia Leadership Award while attending Engineer Officer Basic Course in 1998. Brigadier General Henderson holds a Bachelor's of Science in Engineering Technology and a Master's degree in Business Administration, both from Arkansas State University. He graduated Resident Air War College in 2016, where he was awarded a Master's degree in Strategic Studies and won the Reserve Component Writing Award as author of the academic paper that best contributes to the future roles and missions of the Reserve Components. He served in numerous command and staff assignments from platoon leader through battalion commander in the 875th Engineer Battalion. He commanded Alpha Company, 875th, deploying as a separate unit that successfully completed combat validation prior to a change of mission to Operation Noble Eagle. He served as the 875th S1 personnel officer during Operation Iraqi Freedom rotation from 06 through 2008. He commanded the 875th from 2013 to 2015. Brigadier General Henderson has served on full-time staff roles that include battalion and brigade level training officers, battalion and brigade level administrative officers, DOMS operations officer, state G3, and Army Chief of Staff. Brigadier General Henderson commanded the 233rd Regional Training Institute and currently serves as the Director of the Joint Staff. Brigadier General Henderson resides in Sherwood, Arkansas. He has one daughter, Hallie, who will graduate as a Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine from the New York Institute of Technology in 2025, and then serve as an officer in the Army Medical Corps. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Brigadier General Michael Henderson.
Well, good morning. LT, you fumbled at the goal line. You weren't supposed to read my bio, but very good. No cause for concern. Very good, very good. Good job. Hey, it's always good to make a lieutenant nervous when you can. Okay, so that's all we're doing here. Hey, no place like home, right? No place like home. Or as we say in the Arkansas National Guard, there's no better place than home here in Arkansas. To our elected officials, thank you so much for coming out this morning. You didn't have to be here, and we're so glad you did. And I would specifically like to say to Representative Crawford, Congressman, it does my heart good to know that there's a veteran that represents me on Capitol Hill. I greatly appreciate what you do for the state, and I'd like to talk about some of the comments that you made because I think they're so key. Representative Crawford is absolutely right. Fiscal year 23 was the worst year we've had in recruiting since the advent of the all-volunteer service system. And a lot of reasons for that. I'm proud to report, though, that we're a bit on the rebound now. We had a little uptick in recruiting in the Arkansas National Guard last year. And this last month, Arkansas was one of about 30 states that exceeded our recruiting mission goal for the month of October. So fiscal year 25 is off to a good start. And I'm encouraged by that, and I'm confident that it's because of all the support we get from great people out here in the community just like yourselves. So thank you so much. Red Wolf Battalion, thank you guys so much for hosting us here today. And for those of you who are persevering in formation, I've been where you are. So hang in there, we'll be short. The 106th Army Band, thank you guys so much for coming up this morning. Always so proud to be part of a ceremony that you guys are in attendance for. You just raise the standard of every ceremony that you participate in. So thank you so much for coming up this morning. And they represent the Arkansas National Guard, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Arkansas Guard this morning. I was disappointed that the parade was canceled. However, I was so proud to be able to come back to this building So much of my history and so many significant milestones in my life are tied to this place. And I'll talk about them a little bit at the end of my comments. But I do have some prepared remarks on Veterans Day. So those of you, LT, you stole a little bit of my thunder by having all the veterans stand up. That was one of the things I was going to do, but I would like, for those of you who would, give me a round of applause for all of our veterans, if we could. So I wanted to start there. Thank you to our veterans, to show our gratitude. That's really what today is all about. You know, and I'm going to put a special emphasis as an Arkansas Guardsman on the contributions of the National Guard throughout Veterans Day. For those of you that don't know, the Arkansas National Guard is a unique organization, the Army National Guard and the National Guard in total, both Army and Air. Very unique in that we have a dual mission. We have our federal mission, which is to fight and win our nation's wars, and then we have our state mission, which is to help out our first responders and our community leaders in the event of a crisis. So the National Guard is a very unique organization. And throughout our history, the National Guard has heeded the call to protect our nation, remain secure and free. From the Revolutionary War, the first servicemen were militia way back in Massachusetts. We've all heard the story of Paul Revere and the Minutemen. Well, that's the National Guard. Through World War II and all the way up through our current global conflicts, National Guard members have made immense sacrifices, and they continue to do so. In the words of former President Ronald Reagan, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. Never more than one generation away. The National Guard has proved to be that crucial bridge between generations, preserving and safeguarding our liberties. Former President Reagan also said in a 1983 radio address to the nations that veterans know better than anyone else the price of freedom. For they've suffered the scars of war. We can offer them no better tribute than to protect what they have won for us. And I think those words are very appropriate. During World War II, the National Guard members made up approximately a very sizable portion of the Army. Over 350,000 guardsmen were called into active duty. Guard units added 18 infantry divisions, 80 separate regiments, 29 Army Air Force flying squadrons to the nation's active duty forces. It's pretty remarkable. It was a National Guard regiment, the North Dakota's 164th Infantry, that was the first Army regiment to fight offensively in World War II. They were sent to Guadalcanal to reinforce the Marine Corps. National Guard units played crucial roles in significant campaigns and battles throughout the European Pacific theaters. These citizen soldiers were essential to helping secure victory during World War II. Later, during the Vietnam War, more than 9,000 National Guard members were activated and deployed to Vietnam to serve. While they were a minority in terms of their overall personnel deployed to Vietnam, their contributions were invaluable. However, it was the Vietnam War that led to a change in our national security policy, which brought on the advent of the all-volunteer forces. And the National Guard's limited role in deploying to Vietnam was a contributing factor in that change. Creighton Abrams, the Chief of Staff of the Army at the time, said that he would do what he could by way of policy to ensure that no future conflict would be had on the part of our nation without a significant involvement in the National Guard, because the community support for our nation's military is so much higher when the Guard's involved. Later, the global war on terror that began with the attacks on September 11th saw a significant and ongoing role for the Guard and reserves. Over the course of that conflict, Afghanistan and Iraq, more than 1 million National Guardsmen and reservists were activated and supported overseas deployments in support of military operations. Citizen soldiers played critical roles in many capacities, and their contributions were necessary to the overall effort. The National Guard continues to make significant contributions worldwide, participating in humanitarian efforts, peacekeeping missions, and diplomatic endeavors. In 2024, the National Guard is a vital force providing support to allied forces, including Ukraine and Israel. Our dedication to promoting stability and security in these areas is a testament to the unwavering commitment we have to our nation. The Guard also plays a pivotal role as first responders. Prompt and efficient responses underscore the commitment we have to our communities and to our people. Today, your National Guard remains steadfast in our motto, always ready, always there. Most recently here in Arkansas, we sent more than 25,000 MREs to Georgia after Hurricane Helen. We sent a support package to Florida in support of Hurricane Milton, and I'm proud to report that whenever the damage assessments of the hurricane, whenever the military was conducting our damage assessments of the hurricane, the first bird in the air was an Arkansas National Guard Black Hawk helicopter. First bird in the air, source of great pride for us. So, you know, it's obvious that the Guard is a vital component of our national security. And I said in my opening how proud I am to be back home and how proud I am to be back in this building. I walked right through those doors, the same door I walked through this morning in September of 1993, and I began my military service. I walked out that door in October or in March of 2003 on my first deployment. And I walked out that door in August of 2006 on my way to Iraq. Those are significant dates for me. In that office right over there, I spent about 9 years, the first 9 years of my service for the Arkansas National Guard. And from that office, we coordinated, I couldn't count how many winter response missions, traffic support missions, tornadoes, Hurricane Katrina, so many things that we were involved in during my time here. And I think that continues to this day, right? We've moved, the times have changed, but one thing that's endured has been our service. And as we've served, what's enabled our service has been the support of all of you. And I go back and talk about the Vietnam era for just a moment, and I mentioned briefly some changes to the national security policy which brought about the all-volunteer force. Well, those of you who served in Vietnam, I have a special connection to you, I believe. Would our Vietnam veterans please stand up, if you're able? A quick round of applause for you gentlemen. Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to mention our Vietnam veterans, and gentlemen, you can be seated when you're ready. I wanted to just briefly recognize and talk about our Vietnam veterans because Carl, you can have a seat. Thank you, sir. So I wanted to mention and single out our Vietnam veterans because I think they are really at the core of my message. I talked a lot about the Guard, talked about how our policies have changed because of the Vietnam era. We did not treat, as a nation, we did not treat our Vietnam veterans the way that they should have been treated when they came back home. And it would have been understandable for them to be very bitter about that. However, I would tell you from my personal experience, I mentioned the service that I participated in, and the experience that I had whenever I got ready to deploy, it's very difficult. It's very difficult when you know that you're about to leave your family and go to a strange place. You don't know what you're in for. You don't know what to expect. And so it's a difficult time. For my generation, the people who supported us the best were those Vietnam veterans. Whenever I got ready to deploy, the Vietnam veterans, so many volunteered to help my family while I was gone. And whenever I returned home, I came home to a hero's welcome that I didn't deserve, but they put their arms around our unit and around all of us as we returned home, and gave us the welcome home that they should have gotten whenever they returned. And to me, that is a testament to their character and the type of service that we should honor and that we should reward out in our communities. So I wanted to especially recognize you here today, and just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for all that you've done for me, my family, and for this community and for our country. And so I'll wrap up with just a little bit more about the recruiting comments that Congressman Crawford mentioned at the first of the ceremony today. You know, in the Guard, we have a unique opportunity. I highlighted our two missions. You can serve while also pursuing a civilian career. About 80% of our force are citizen soldiers. And I will tell you from my personal story, I told you I walked through that door in September of '93 and began my service. You know, how I got there. I was a young kid from a small town, about 45 minutes from here, in Bowdoin, Arkansas. Came here, got lost in a bigger community, lost my scholarship, needed to find a way to pay for school. Connected with a friend who was in the Guard, and never regretted that decision. There's no better place than the Guard for you to serve and to pursue a career. So I would just tell you, if you know somebody in your circle of influence, if you know a young person, and it doesn't have to be someone going to school, it can be someone, a young professional, a young person out there getting a start in life. The benefits and the opportunity to serve that we offer are unmatched. The insurance benefits, all those things, it's just unquestionably unmatched. And if you know a young person that's looking for discipline, direction, and dollars for a degree, send them my way, because I promise you we can change their lives. So, you know, I would just tell you, in my service, I've been in every one of the 50 states. And I've been around the world. I've been to the birthplace of civilization. I've walked on the Great Wall of China, and I've had experiences that, you know, are too numerous to describe. But whenever I come back home, I realize that despite all those things out there in the world, there's no better place than right here in Arkansas, and no better people than the people in the communities out here. And I'm just so proud to be part of you. And I'm so proud that you continue to honor your veterans. Thank you so much for sharing some time with me today.
Discipline, direction, and dollars. That's what I heard from the general. And sir, whenever you get ready to retire, you probably have a career as a Baptist minister coming, right? Sir, thank you. I've got a gift for you. I'll bring it over here in a second. This is just a token of our appreciation for your remarks, certainly your service to this community, the state, and the nation. The Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation had this book, this edition of the Veterans of Craighead County, printed in 2011. We'll be working on a second edition, probably adding as many as we need to. I know there's many of you out there who would look at this and say, hey, my veteran's not in here, or I'm not in here. Well, let's get you in the next one. Sir, you are featured on page 155. The CCVMF board has written a letter of appreciation. It's on the inside. I'd have to break out my glasses to read it, so I'll just hand it off to you. You mentioned sitting in that office back there, not able to count the number of missions that the Guard had done in terms of tornado response and ice storms and everything else. And I remember sitting back there working for you. And so there's folks like George Wilson and Tommy Hogan and Todd Kirk, and we were all counting for you, boss. We were counting. And we're really proud to have you here. Thanks again for coming up and honoring us on this Veterans Day celebration. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the president of the Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation. I retired a few years ago with 36 years of service, 26 active duty in uniform. The first 16 years of my service, though, I was an enlisted man. And so, Cadet First Sergeant, Cadet Chief, what I want you to do right now, just for a quick second, I want you to call your units to attention and then put them at rest. Rest, not parade rest, rest. Yeah, you're there. So what I want you to do is keep your right foot planted. Don't move your right foot. I want you to move around. Work it out. Loosen it out. Bend at the knees. Get those hands up in the air. Take a selfie, whatever you got to do. It's a long time to stand in that position. I hated doing it for parades. I hated doing it for all these ceremonies. You got it all worked out? You good? Nobody's going to fall out? Super. You can call them back to whatever position you had them at before, or you can keep them at rest. Thank you. LT?
It's remarkably rare to see an actively serving ship commander this far inland, but we have one and some members of his crew with us today. Here to talk about the upcoming christening and commissioning of the newest USS Arkansas, the fifth ship of its name, is U.S. Navy Commander Michael Huber. He is a native of Virginia Beach, Virginia. He was commissioned 2005 through Virginia Tech, Navy ROTC, and has subsequent degrees from Old Dominion University and the Eisenhower School, National Defense University. He is no stranger to sea service or submarines, having been aboard the USS Michigan with 2 Western Pacific deployments, as well as the USS North Dakota and the USS West Virginia. His ashore assignments include Navy Recruiting Command, Navy Office of Legislative Affairs, Director of Global Operations J-39, Joint Staff, and Submarine Squadron 8. Commander Huber is married to the former Christina Santoni of Seattle, Washington. They have a daughter, Olivia, who is 9, and a son, Thomas, who is 7. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Commander Michael J. Huber.
Well, good morning, everybody. I do have a few remarks, but I think I'd like to start by acknowledging all the veterans who are here. We've already gone around the room a handful of times asking you to stand. I'm not going to ask anybody to stand. But I'd like to say a little thank you from my heart and from the 123 crew members of the future USS Arkansas that I represent. Regardless of why you joined to serve or when you joined to serve, whether you served at home or abroad, you all volunteered to serve something greater than yourselves, and I truly appreciate that. And I think sometimes we forget about the sacrifices that all of our veterans have made before us. So I truly am thankful for the future veterans in the audience. You have some great examples sitting in front of you today. Listen to their stories, listen to their sea stories, or their, I don't know what the Army calls them, they're just stories. The Marines might draw them on a piece of paper for you. And the Air Force are too young to have any stories. So please take the time to talk to them. They've had some amazing sacrifices in their lives, and I hope you all look forward to having some of those same stories in the future. You've already demonstrated by the fact that you're standing here in a uniform on a Saturday morning that you're willing to do something greater than yourselves to serve our country for a variety of reasons. You still decided to serve, and I thank you all for that. I'm here representing the future USS Arkansas, which is a submarine that's being built in Newport News, Virginia. She's about 75% complete, and when she goes into the water later this year or later next year in 2025, and then hopefully out to sea in 2026, she'll represent the newest submarine that the U.S. Navy has to go and deploy far from our shores in the Pacific and the Atlantic to defend our ideals abroad. Like I said, I'm the leader of 123 crew members today. They represent all walks of life from all over the country. And again, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time to get to know every member of the state that we will represent whenever we deploy, and I look forward to talking with you all later. Thank you very much.
Commander Huber, we're certainly honored to have you and some members of your crew with us today. We appreciate you coming all the way from Rhode Island. That's right. No, Virginia. The ship's in Rhode Island. Virginia too. Okay, got it. So we hope that your visit to Jonesboro was a warm and welcome one. I know that you got to meet the mayor and some other key folks of our city and our state. If you ever find yourself in need of an anchor, we've got a huge one behind the courthouse there. You're welcome to it. You know, on second thought, you're commanding a sub, so you probably don't want an anchor. You might think that was a Marine Corps comment there. But we'll be watching for footage of the christening, watching for footage of the commissioning over the next 18 months or so, anxiously awaiting that. We know that you're going to represent Arkansas, serving our nation and our allies very well, very proudly. When people think of Arkansas and icons, they often associate it with the Razorback. But the well-educated people, however, know that there are two big schools in this state. And, you know, if any of you have seen Hunter Killer, great movie. Gerard Butler, fantastic actor, standing in the ship. It's a sub, by the way. It's also a Virginia-class sub. Standing in his office, and what did the world see behind him? The Red Wolf logo. And that's because on that actual ship that was part of the filming, there were several alumni from right here, Arkansas State University. So as a token of our appreciation for you and your crew, you've got a Red Wolf logo. And I know in the Navy you guys wear all kinds of, you can wear whatever the hell you want. So you've got a hat today. And again, I want to thank you for coming up today. Thank you for touring the state and promoting the fifth named, the newest USS Arkansas. There have been several events already highlighting the USS Arkansas across the state. There's going to be many, many more to come. We're well aware of that. Things like this don't just happen. There's actually a dedicated team on the USS Arkansas Commissioning Committee with us today. And I want to invite Mr. Alan Malone. You retired as a rank what? He was a submarine commander too. Come on up, Alan. Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. What an honor. Gosh, so many great speakers and so many things honoring the veterans that are here and those future veterans that are here. It's an honor to be part of you guys. As Brian said, I am a retired Navy commander. I served in submarines for 24 years. And so when we found out that the Navy had the foresight to name the newest submarine the USS Arkansas, my brother and I, he didn't like the service. He only stayed like 40 years in the Navy. So he's back home because he had surgery, and he wanted to pass his thanks to having us visit your wonderful county and city. And I did meet the mayor and the county judge, as well as many other wonderful people here. So God bless all of you. It's just an honor to be here. Real quick, I know you've been here a long time, but what we do as a commissioning committee is we are trying to tie the crew that are here. Y'all stand, please. Give them a hand. Stand up, guys. All of you guys. And back in the back is Lieutenant Damien as well. Thank you guys for coming. This is part of what we do as a commissioning committee. We bring members of the crew to the state. We want the crew to recognize Arkansas, and we want Arkansas to recognize the crew. That submarine is the most technological advanced thing in the absolute world, but it doesn't work without people like this. They are the real reason that it can whip anything in the ocean. So get to know them, meet them, but we need money to do the things we do, such as bring them here and also to decorate the submarine with things Arkansas, which includes red wolves. Okay, it's not all just little hogs. And I have colors of shirts and things that aren't all red. So come see me at this table over here at the end. That's how we raise money. We sell you different hats, shirts, coins, things like that. And we certainly take donations. There's a lot of money involved because we're going to do several events: a sponsors luncheon, a chairman's reception, a post-commissioning reception, a crew family day picnic, items for the boat to decorate it, Arkansas things, and that doesn't mean all hogs. So we are going to be doing all of that stuff, and the money left over is going to be used for scholarships for the crew. There'll be a trustee board that will award, hopefully, perpetual scholarships for the life of the crew to members of the submarine or their families. So come see me at the table, and I will sell you stuff and take your money. Be glad to do it. I can ask for that. He can't, but I can ask for money. So thank you for having me, and come see me. Thank you so much.
Alan, thanks for all you do, and we do appreciate you wearing the red sweatshirt. So, you know, we do hope to see you back up here as often as you can get up here. No, that's Red Wolf red. Razorback's more maroon. I was on the radio promoting the Veterans Day Parade and program over the past few days, and folks like Jim Frigo and Trey Stafford, they all asked about merchandise. So hopefully there's going to be a large purchase today, and you guys can do great and wonderful things. And let us know if there's anything that we can do to help support. But I got to tell you, it looks like you've got a pretty good crew here today, at least supporting everything that you've been doing in Northeast Arkansas, to include the academies at Jonesboro High School Navy Junior ROTC. And they're commanded by Cadet Commander Michael Reed, and their cadre, Lieutenant Commander Donnie Mize and Chief Franklin Privet. So thank you for coming today and supporting the Veterans Day program. So shift around in your seats. I know it's been a little long already, and that's fine. At least we're inside. We may have made the bad call on canceling the parade because it's not raining yet, but come on, rain. Don't make me look like a fool. I want to talk about the Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation. We began essentially with the Doughboy that's downtown. Hope you've seen it. That statue was dedicated in 1919 as a monument to World War I veterans. In 2001, the statue was incorporated into the much larger monument you see down there with the 4 pylons, the sidewalks, the benches, the personalized bricks, walls of honor, everything you got down there. We are a not-for-profit 501c3 organization, and our mission is really simple. We just want to preserve the memories and honor the military service of the thousands of Craighead County men and women who've served throughout the years. So we invite anyone, if you've lived, worked, gone to school, or even just drove through and rolled your window down in Craighead County, if you've got some connections to Craighead County, come see me or Rich Norris. We've got some bricks on display back there. We've got the veterans books that I gave to General Henderson. Come talk to us. Brick and book sales don't, like Alan said, we're a nonprofit, and brick and book sales don't cover our annual cost. So back there on the table on your way out, there's a helmet or two. Throw $1 in if you're so inclined. We'd really appreciate it. I'm really proud to announce that we received a $200 donation just yesterday, day before yesterday, from the Rotary Club charity after Danny Honnell. Danny, where are you at? After you went down and made a fantastic presentation. Danny is more than just a founding board member of the CCVMF. He's Craighead County Historical Society president. And if you want to know anything about anything in this county, he's your guy. And I want to thank you, Danny. You know, if you want to ask him questions, that's $5 a piece. But anyway, I want to talk about the recent additions to our monument. You know, every year we grow a little bit, and I'm talking about the engraved bricks of our veterans. We added 11 at Memorial Day, including Congressman Crawford's brick. Hopefully we can get your dad's printed and put it right next to you pretty soon. 8 more have been added since Memorial Day, and those include Angela Walker, J.M. Faxey Fairhead, Michael P. Fairhead, John M. Fairhead, Sergeant Northern, Sergeant Slavin, Jimmy Emerson, and Major Robert Green. All of those were added last week. So, and in honor of some of our special guests and the previous 4 USS Arkansas ships, you'll be happy to know that we have placed a brick for each one of those ships. Since you're going to be christening on December 7th this year and then commissioning on December 7th next year, we've placed those bricks in grid 12, row 7. So how do you like that? But there's plenty of room to have your name or your loved one's name down there. We haven't even gone all the way around the courthouse yet. We hope to soon. So come see me or Rich Norris again after this, and we'll get your veteran honored down there with a brick. Before I turn it back over to the obviously capable Lieutenant Grimmett, he's done a fantastic job, hasn't he? I definitely have to say thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Weatherly, who's the professor of military science here at Arkansas State. He's out in Oklahoma with his Ranger Challenge teams. But I want to thank the cadre and the cadets here at the Red Wolf Battalion. They have consistently helped the Craighead County Veteran Monument Foundation with support for the Veterans Day program and the parade. And I also want to thank Kappa Sigma. Where are you guys? Way back there. So there's a fraternity on campus that does a lot of great things, including raising money for St. Jude. And they've offered to help us with both brains and muscle, mostly muscle, over the last couple years. You know, I'm always impressed with your outreach program, so I want to thank Kappa Sigma and their leader, Parker Thomas, for supporting us. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jana Haskins. She's the director of the Beck Center for Veterans, right behind me over my right shoulder, behind all the equipment that you cadets haven't moved yet, I understand. Are you in trouble for that, First Sergeant? Anyway, so their service to veterans is nationally known and copied by other university programs across the nation. So I want to thank her for all they do and her team. So please help me thank them, ROTC and Kappa Sig. Thank you very much for your support. Almost finished, and I need to be because I need to get some medication on board. I do need to introduce to you a VIP today, and that is our state CASA. The civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army is appointed by the Secretary to advise and support Army leaders across the country. Most states only have one. There are a few larger states that have a couple more. CASAs, what they do is they provide individual advice to the Secretary of the Army on public sentiment towards the Army, and they work closely with the Army leaders and installation commanders. They also serve as the Secretary's liaison for Guard and Reserve matters and affairs. They also engage with local, regional, and state officials, federal agencies, members of Congress, and their staff. CASAs are special government employees who agree to serve as a representative of the Secretary of the Army. They work without salary, no pay, wages, no related benefits, but they are afforded a 3-star protocol status. Dr. Ed Salo was recently sworn into the position, and I'd like to introduce to you him as my friend, my mentor, my professor, by the way, and our newest CASA, and of course his wife Jennifer, lovely wife Jennifer's here to join us. And Dr. Salo, would you please come up and say some things to the crew?
Thank you. This is my first event as the CASA, so I couldn't think of anything better to do. You know, this is awesome to, you know, recognize the veterans. My father was a Korean War veteran. He said he liked the Army so much he stayed through, retiring in 1976, and I know it really changed his life. In my day job, I am a professor here, and one of the honors that I get to do is I teach the military history class that every cadet has to take before they commission. So I've taught or will teach all of them over there, and I must say they're great students. They're great people, and I'm really proud of them. But I also teach veterans all through. The GI Bill was a wonderful thing, and I've had students who are just out of the service or have been out for a long time, and it's always an honor to teach them. And yes, Colonel Mason is one of my students, and he does owe me a paper by the end of the semester, just reminding you, sir. But, you know, again, it's an honor to serve Arkansas, and it's an honor to, you know, and I want to thank all of the veterans, and thank you for your service.
Congratulations, Dr. Salo, on this and many other appointments that you already serve on, and those fellowships that you're in with the Department of Defense. By the way, for those of you who are listening, Lieutenant Grimmett, if you have any public events involving Army stuff, you might want to invite this guy. I'm going to turn it back over to the MC. I honestly want to thank you for supporting our event today, supporting the Cricket County Veterans Monument Foundation. God bless each of you. Lieutenant, it's yours.
While we celebrate Veterans Day as a day of honor for our living service members, we reserve Memorial Day to honor those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. Many of our living veterans today have experienced the loss of a comrade, a brother, or a sister in arms, and they don't live a day without remembering them and their sacrifice. It is wholly appropriate for us to remember them again today. At this time, I ask that you please stand for the rendering of taps by Ryan Hartness. Miss Lori Dial will now sing God Bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in one of our nation's greatest hymns that needs to be heard all the way to Washington and around the world. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Dial. The benediction will be given by Chaplain Rick Hart.
Can we all bow our heads, please? Father, today we are so grateful for the many men and women who have served this great country. We are thankful, God, for those who are even today on our watch, keeping our liberty, our freedom, and justice for all. We thank you, God, for the many, Lord, who spoke of their historical events, God, in their time of service, that, Lord, I pray will encourage these new cadets, Lord, to make their own history. Lord, that this country will continue to go forward, Lord, and be the country that we all know we are. And Father, I pray today on this Veterans Day, Lord, that all of these veterans, Lord, and all of these who are currently serving, and Lord, these who are training to serve, Lord, will be blessed today by this service and encouraged as they go forward and keep this watch. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. There are so many people that we'd like to thank for making this a special Veterans Day ceremony. There are many donors and people who have given their time and labor. Some of you are here in the audience. Most of our sponsors and volunteers are printed in your program, so please give back to those businesses and organizations when you can. A special thanks to Suncom Media for broadcasting and recording the program. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for supporting our veterans on Veterans Day and every other day that you can. Don't forget there's a chili lunch at the VFW post across town right after this. This concludes the ceremony. God bless.
The Craighead County Veterans Monument Foundation has a purpose to preserve the memories and honor the military service of thousands of Craighead County men and women who have served through the years. Say thank you to a special veteran by purchasing a brick as part of the Craighead County Courthouse Plaza in downtown Jonesboro. Celebrate a graduation, recognize a commissioning, or commemorate a retirement by placing an engraved brick on the plaza. To place your order, go to craigheadcountyveterans.org or find us on Facebook.
America is a great country. It's a country that believes that its former Olympic athletes should lead the parade. It's a country that looks and admires the dedication and the athleticism of the participants. And it's a country that never mocks our religious symbols. Here at the Central Dealerships, we support our great Olympic athletes and we support our great nation.
There's only one name where fat is good. Fat City Steak and Grill House. At Fat City, start your day off right with the best breakfast, from skillets to omelets, pancakes, and more.
Fat City Steak and Grill House.
There's only one name where fat is good. Fat City Steak and Grill House. At Fat City, you'll always enjoy the best burgers and other favorites, including our delicious steaks, all hand-cut and perfectly grilled.